you're not leveraging Google, you are at a disadvantage. Because if you're not leveraging Google, how are you getting on with life? How are you finding things, finding websites, finding without search engines, how are you navigating life? The same would be said about AI now. Without leveraging AI, you will be at a disadvantage. Because if you like it or not, AI is being leveraged by companies and by individuals. I say that because I, for one, I use AI every single day. I use AI to create this presentation. So everything from the very first topic to the very last slide you would see is generated by AI. And the AI bot I use, the AI system I use is the generative AI. So you give it text, provide text into it, and it comes back with information. So I asked my brother CG, what are the topics you want me to talk about? And he sent it to me, and I typed that into my generative AI assistant, and I said, generate me presentation with 30 slides that covers these topics. And it's done exactly that. So I'm leveraging AI in every single day of work. If I'm asked to do a presentation, if I'm asked to come up with an idea, if I'm asked to write the minutes of a meeting, if I'm asked to, every single aspect of normal working now requires, I now leverage AI. And it's not just AI for work. I leverage AI when I'm having conversations on my phone. So if I'm typing message and I go, okay, I don't like how this message sounds. Can I improve how the message sounds? I used AI that's linked to how I'm typing. And it goes, okay, phrase it like this. It sounds better. So I'm making less grammatical errors and I'm sounding more professional even in my text. So AI is leveraged everywhere. I use this diagram as an early illustration of what we have in AI. I hope it's clear enough or big enough, but the point of this diagram is three things. I want us to put three things in mind: statistics, computer science, data science, and AI. Three things I want us to bear in mind: statistics, computer science, data science, and AI. So the very first picture, you see the big elephant and the snake. Statistics, when I was in university, statistics was a separate discipline. Computer science is a separate discipline. We all know that. And then, as you can see with the next picture, the snake goes, we would like to work together. And then the snake begins to take on the elephant. And the last picture you see it has become an elephant mixed into a snake, and it now looks like a dinosaur. So the field of statistics and the field of computer science in the past merged into what we called data scientists. I know this is very loose, and there's still statistics that separate from computer science, and there's still data science that separates them. But this is a light way of overgeneralizing what's happening. And you can see, if you understand, this is the dinosaurs back in the days. You understand that a meteorite landed and made dinosaurs extinct, essentially. And there's a very funny illustration of what AI is doing to the data science world, essentially. But not so much because data scientists will no longer be needed. In fact, data science will be needed more. But in terms of what they'll be doing and talking about, data science will be talking more in the language of AI. So things that data science person would do would now be referred to more of, oh, I'm designing an AI this and AI that. And in every department, in every field, AI would be essential. Okay. The next slide is types of AI. And I know back in the days when we think about AI, we think about something like this. We think about, many of us have seen the old movies like iRobot. We've seen Will Smith taking on fighting against robots and things that look like this. And sometimes in our mind, this is what the picture we have about robotics and AI and some big old Terminator taking over the world. But the reality is, it would be a lot more subtle than this. And the truth is, development in that side of AI isn't as, at the moment, isn't as fast as more generative type of AI. So we're not putting so much investment into creating a general AI, or should I say a super intelligent AI. A lot of what we are seeing now is what we call narrow AI. By narrow, we mean it's not as AI systems designed to solve specific tasks. For example, Siri, for example, Alexa, those are voice activated assistants. They're doing a specific task, you know, tasks like reminding us of settings on our phone, or playing music at a specific time, or telling us, oh, the weather is going to be this, or Alexa, what do you think about this? Or those are specific narrow AI. Or when you see Netflix and we watch a movie and Netflix goes, oh, I recommend you watching this based on the understanding of your behaviors. Or Amazon to suggest you watching movies or shows, or Amazon suggesting products based on your user preference. General AI is more closer to this robot you see here, where it's still on the level of hypotheticals, like an, an AI that can do has human intelligence, an AI that can perform any intellectual task a human being can. It's still more hypothetical now. And then the next level is the super intelligence AI. So that's the AI that can surpass human intelligence. I must add this in all aspects, because now AI is already doing that. So you have AI that can play chess better than a human being. We have AI that can process things way faster than a human being. We already know that exists, and we've seen that already. But the next level of AI would then be the general AI and the super intelligence AI, which is at the moment not something that is out there and available as much. So the question comes, how does AI work? How does it work? And three things to bear in mind when we think about how AI works is actually the one component before all of this big words like machine learning and neural networks and algorithms. The one thing to bear in mind on how AI works is probably the most important component on AI works. I might probably ask as a question. Is there anybody that can give me suggestions on what we think? It might not be the one thing, but just the things you think that are important for AI to work. Any thoughts in the house? Just want to get us thinking. So for AI to work, what are the things that are important? And it's not just one. I don't want to say it's one thing, because it's more than one thing. So for AI to work, what are the things that are important? Anything we can think about reading. I just want to see thoughts in the house. And I would encourage conversation, because I want us to ask questions and um, get into this conversation. Actually,
So,
just to quick, someone's going to talk on. Sorry.
yeah, I just wanted to say something. So, I guess, I mean, obviously, I'm not an expert, but my basic thinking is that if AI is going to work, you will need probably a lot of data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. That is, and I think that's the exact answer I was looking for. And it's so when the ideas of AI became new, like I said, in the in the 50s and the 60s and all these years ago, one thing they lacked then was data. And one thing we have now in abundance is data. But another thing they lacked then is computational power. So back then, a computer that could probably do as much as my phone, would probably be as big as a house. So computational power was very, very reduced. Well, now one thing we have a lot of is smart everything. Our phones now, as I remember I was having this conversation not long ago, and I said how memory back then, in all of the years ago, we used to have memory small as 8 gig, 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I thought, okay, that's not, no, what am I saying? Sorry, 8 gig, that's a lot. I'm saying 256. So now gigabytes of RAM is going as much as 8 gig. Then 256 was really good. And I mean, by that I mean, so now we're on like 8,000 memories, 8,000 megabytes. We're on 16,000 megabytes. We're on 32,000 megabytes. Back then, a good computer would have something as small as 256 megabytes of memory to run all these processes. So essentially what I'm saying is computational power has expanded exponentially. So not only do we have huge amount of data, and the reason why we have this data is because everybody takes a picture and adds it to the social media. Everybody has information and they add it to the internet. So because of that explosion of data, AI is possible. So what is AI doing? How is AI working? So how do we go from data to machine learning? How do we go from that? Okay. So with machine learning, essentially is us going, machine learning is essentially a subset of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence in itself, I'll say it's a subset of computer science. Okay. So machine learning is the first iteration of what we have now. So machine learning, there are three types: there's supervised, unsupervised, and reinforced. I won't go too deep into that, but I'll just touch on it a bit. With machine learning, essentially what you're trying to do is develop algorithm and statistic models to enable a computer to learn how to make predictions or decisions based on data. So what we said earlier, because we have a lot of data, we've fed those data into a computer, and the computer has begun to recognize what that data means. Okay, I'll take it back. I'll use normal everyday things. So take, for example, you're trying to make a smoothie. What do we need to make a smoothie? We need bananas, we need apple, we need mango. So those three things, those three fruits are the inputs that we need. Banana, apples, and mango. Inputs we need. We take that input and we feed it into a blender. We slice it in and put it in a blender. What that blender does is similar to what a computer does. It processes it. So we put our inputs, which is banana, apple, and mango, into a blender. It processes everything the same way a computer would, and it comes out as smoothie. So we have input, computation, the computation, and that's where the computer does all the algorithm and statistics model and all the smart words it does, and it brings it out as an output. That is the basics of how computing works. It's the basics of how artificial intelligence works and every other subset of it. So machine learning, deep learning, all of that works in the same approach. It takes in information, it it processes it, and it comes out with an output. At this moment, I'm just going to take a pause and I'm going to see if there's any questions about anything, because I know I am speaking fast. I'm speaking about a lot of topics. So just want to take a pause then, see if anyone has any questions, any thoughts of what we've said so far.
I have a question.
Go on.
So, especially on this slide that you're on around like machine learning and how deep learning, machine learning, AI. Obviously, I come from financial services background, and then sort of late 2000s, there were these terms that started coming. We used to talk about things like algorithmic trading, um, quantum trading or quantum computing. And I wonder if algorithmic trading, or automated trading has anything to do, or if it's just like an application of AI, or if it's something totally different.
That's a good question. Thanks, CJ. The uh, I'll go back a bit and say the concepts of using algorithms for trading and the concept of using machines for anything is very, very linked to the ability of machines to take in data, process the data, and come up with an output. So for trading, the more data you've added to it, either it's data that is in this slide, we have three types of machine and data that we can put in, two types of machine learning. It could either be by supervised learning. So in that way, in that type of way, we are adding in inputs that is something the machine can understand. So we're adding in a labeled data where the input output pair is known. I'll give you an example. Supervised learning is, say, for example, we want to teach a machine how to understand what 3 looks like. So the letter 3. And we want the machine to be able to look at a picture or look at a page and understand what 3, the letter 3 looks like. If we provide it with 1 million different ways of a human being writing 3, either a child, a baby, a perfectly written 3, a computer generated 3, or millions of 3s, after a while, the computational power of a machine would start to recognize the patterns that, okay, 3 has this curve here, has another curve here. Sometimes they don't complete the curve, but it will be able to start to understand what 3 looks like. And that's when it's called supervised learning. It's more likely to see that in a situation where it's like trading, as of the example you gave, it's not looking for the exact, we're not feeding it with exact input and output that we know. But here it's unlabeled. It's now where we want the machine to be able to understand patterns. So it's not looking for a specific input and output. Now it's looking for patterns. So it's looking for, okay, trading goes up here, down here, up here, down here, and it's looking for all the other factors around it to be able to make decisions. So this unsupervised one is where you give the machine a bunch of information, and from that information, it's beginning to separate things. Example includes like there's a cluster of customer segmentation, there's a market basket of analysis, and it's going, okay, I can read through millions and millions and millions of data points. And because I have millions of data points or trading information from 50 years ago in 50 different markets, I'm beginning to see patterns across all these markets, and I can make informed decisions based on those patterns. So the two things that are important there is, one, it has data. Two, it has a process of using statistics, mathematics, to be able to find patterns in all of this with data. The last one is reinforced learning, essentially when you give the system feedback based on interactions with the environment. So YouTube, as an example, someone watches a video and then the AI system makes a recommendation, watch this video next. If you click on that video it's recommended next, oh, AI is getting smarter. It gives it itself a point. I go, oh, okay. I know what video to follow this video with next for every other person that's watching it. So it's learning based on their interaction with you. So essentially, you are the person that is feeding the machine on how to behave. Is that clear? Is there anybody that has any questions on those topics covered so far? I don't know if I've expressly answered your question, CJ, because I know I've gone on a lot of things there. Okay. I would touch briefly on neural networks, but don't want to dwell too much time on this. Neural network essentially is when we're trying to simulate the way human brain is processing things using robots, using machines, essentially. So it's the same way if the brain of a human being works. We are trying to simulate that way using machines. Like I said, it's the same process. There's an input, there's a processing layer, and there's an output. All of computing follows that process. Input, processing, and output. However, with the neural part of it is they're using nodes and they're using ways in which human being thinks based on data. Moving on, deep learning is another subset of this. So deep learning uses multiple neural networks in order to make complex decisions in the same way human brain works. So just want you to have a general understanding of these terms. Neural networks, deep learning, machine learning are all subsets of artificial intelligence. That's the summary. Like I said, deep learning, subsets of machine learning as well. It uses more computations to come up with an output. Okay. And this topic, please, I want to get interactions as much as possible. Why is AI important? I'll need three people to give me input here before I can move on, and I need at least three people to chime in and tell me anything you think about anything is relevant. What do you think AI is good for? Is AI good? Is it important? Why is it important? Anybody? I'm gonna call names as I can see the names of people here, so I'm just gonna call people just so that we get about you wanna say something, switch on the video.
Can I just chip in?
Sorry?
Hello, it's
Yep,
Konya.
yep. Go
So,
on, please.
AI, when you're talking about AI, it's important because it automates complex processes,
Yep,
especially when you're trying to minimize or downsize predicted maintenance of needs. So it kind of minimizes. It's also important because it kind of minimizes the length of time you spend in doing something that you want to achieve. So it's kind of time efficient.
perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Time efficiency, minimizing time, automate processes. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Any other importance of AI? I think you were about to say something earlier.
Oh, hello, Uncle. It's Esther.
Hi,
I was going
Esther.
to say that AI, they can process a large amount of data at the same time.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Thanks for that contribution as well. Anybody else?
I think I know AI is capable, well, when I, for example, use it at work, apart from making the work the quality and standard of the work a lot more better, it searches wide and very wide and is able to come up with stuff that I, on a day-to-day basis, may not know. It can give me up-to-date and new information in the market.
Brilliant. Up to date new information in the market. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you all for those contributions. And I think those are exactly the answers I was looking for. But just further into that, we're looking at also it from industry point of views. Like for every single person here, AI becomes something that will be leveraged as part of your work, as part of healthcare, medicine, banking, transportation. I, every single industry essentially would leverage. I cannot think of an industry where AI would not be leveraged. I cannot in my head think of any industry from farming to transportation to manufacturing to movies to music to medicine to I can't think of any industry that actually is it not already using AI. So whilst you might have companies that haven't leveraged it, someone in that industry is already leveraging AI. So either in the fashion industry, or you are in a school, or you are in a software industry, someone in your industry is already leveraging AI beyond just what the users are using it for as a company, as an industry. Every single industry is using AI as we are right now. So when it comes to the question of should I leverage it, should I adopt AI, the answer will be either you decide to adopt it or not, AI has already been adopted in your industry. So you learning and leveraging it puts you at an advantage because if you like it or not, it's already been leveraged. Okay, this chat just illustrates the popularity of. So when ChatGPT was launched, ChatGPT became it was leveraged really really quickly, and the reasons for the popularity of this is technology advancements, so increased computational power, ability of big data, the economic benefits as well, and then the societal impacts of this as well. The applications of AI, and this illustrates how it further talks into the last slide that talks about the popularity. So ChatGPT sprints to 100 million users took 2 months. So it went from not having any users to having 100 million users in 2 months. I can't remember very well, but I think it hit 1 million users within a week, something ridiculous like that, or within a very short space of time. But it hit 100 million users. So just look at other companies. So I remember when Facebook was out 2014, 2004, Facebook was leveraged, like Facebook went. Facebook was unbelievably quickly adopted, but it hit 100 million users in 4.5 years. So the first symbol is Spotify, 2008. Spotify hit 100 million users in 11 years. It took them 11 years for Spotify to hit 100 million users. Netflix 10 years, Airbnb 8 years, Twitter now X 5 years, and on and on and on. The company closest to ChatGPT on 2 months is TikTok. That took to TikTok 9 months to hit the same numbers I took ChatGPT. But one thing to also bear in mind in this, when you're talking about the applications of AI and various applications in our life right now, is whilst the popularity is unprecedented and it's not something we've never seen before in our time. But if you look at every single application here, they all are leveraging AI one way or the other. So Netflix is leveraging AI in its recommendation of what to watch next. Facebook is doing the same thing in its shorts and its video and its targeted marketing and algorithms. Instagram TikTok, all of them in one way or the other, Airbnb, in one way or the other, are leveraging AI in their marketing, in their getting users glued to it, watching the next videos. They are all leveraging AI one way or the other. And now we're going to talk about specific industries, none of which I'm an expert in, or maybe one I might know a bit more. But we're going to talk about specific industries, how they leverage AI. So let's think about the healthcare industry. And I think the question I'll probably throw out there is it possible for the health industry to let you use AI? Can the NHS use AI? Can hospitals use AI? I'll give us a moment to just have it thought. Is it possible? Can we use AI in healthcare? Is it possible? Any thoughts? Anybody? Is anybody in healthcare here? I'm gonna check.
Could you repeat your question? Could you repeat the question again?
Sorry.
Could you repeat your question?
Is it possible to leverage AI in healthcare? Is there any
Yes, it is.
is there any application? Is there anything we can think about in terms of how AI can be leveraged in the health industry?
Yes, AI can be leveraged on, especially when it comes to the time it takes in, for example, in A&E. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and even though I work within the health sector, but it can be leveraged because it will reduce the time on the waiting time on patients.
Great.
When it's used appropriately. So the time patients wait when they get to A&E could actually reduce. And also, it could also be leveraged on when it comes to admissions. And also I think in the operating theaters when operations are taken. Yeah.
Thank you. Those are absolutely brilliant ways of leveraging AI and the potentials that of AI. And I think just adding to you mentioned three of this anyway. You mentioned three of this anyway. Real-time prioritization, that's number 5. Real-time prioritization and triaging is definitely something. So any process that is repeatable, AI can leverage. So if AI knows that, let's just not, I want to use AI but all the time, but this is AI that we're talking about. But if the hospital has repeated sequences, they know that Thursdays we have 3,000 people that come, Tuesdays we have 2,000 people that come, Wednesdays, and over a period of 10 years, there's that data. AI can help plan. But what by that I mean it's that there's statistical data, but it can help plan and plan for resources and go, okay, this at this time, this number of doctors will be needed. This over the last 5 years, we used this and this machine. We have to make sure we have this number, and with that, just data points, it can help make those processes more efficient. And we will call it AI now because we can input that data and go, okay, 10 years ago, or the last 10 years, we've had this number. If we make this resources available, it can do this and this and this. Things like robotic surgery, AI, machines are more precise than human beings. Machines don't have a stressful day. Machines don't add emotions to the operation, so they won't have a day where they're more tired or anything. As long as the system is maintained, the accuracy of machines is way higher than human beings. So things that require precision, robots, and using AI recognition of patterns, AI would help in things like that. Drug discovery, there's an example we're going to touch on later in the conversation. And things like medical imaging and diagnosis. So when a doctor has been practicing for 20 years, there are things that the doctor would see, maybe doing a scan and go, this is this. Because over the last 20 years, they've seen that information And because of that, they are knowledgeable enough to be able to say, because I've seen this, this is likely this. That 20 years of experience, the robots can ingest that in 1 minute, essentially. So you could essentially have data of 1,000 years imputed into a robot in a matter of minutes. And then the robot can then go, or the computer can then go, based on these patterns and the outcomes, you could diagnose with more accuracy and go, okay, I can recognize these patterns. I've seen these patterns 1,000 times based on data, and I can use that to deduce that this is likely this. So just the tip of some of the things that AI can do. AI-powered image analysis, tailored treatment plans are also possible. Automating paperwork and scheduling, that is also very, very possible. So automating paperwork, you're talking to the machine, it's creating paper, it's doing the work for you already. You don't have to do repeated processes. Okay, what about in finance? Anybody can give us any thoughts about AI can be value in finance? And the reason I'm asking this question is also, you might not be in that industry, but maybe we begin to think about how computers are changing the world and how people are leveraging computing and AI technologies to impact how we are living our lives all across. Any thoughts on how AI can affect finance?
With regards to finance, I think internet banking has gone in types of security, biometrics security being taken from each customer, stored for them to gain access as a kind of a area where AI has impacted finance to provide security for each individual customers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Yeah, biometrics for detection. A lot of banks now that are not branch-based any longer. If you need to open an account or make changes, what did they do? Ask you to do? They ask you to record a video. They tell you what they want you to say and record it. Right? This is literally what they do. They don't tell you to come to the branch because they don't have any branches. So the Monzos and the Sterling Banks and the what have you of these days, that any other bank that doesn't have a branch, they'll tell you to record a video, they'll compare that with a stored video of you they have. And by comparing, I don't mean they compare video for video, but they're comparing bits and bytes of the probably a token of that video that you stored somewhere, and compare it and say, okay, does this video match the last video that we have of this person? But like I said, it's not likely they're storing it as actual videos and getting an actual human being to watch those two videos. It would create a signature that matches the video you created at first with another video, you did the new video you created, and they'll merge the signatures and say, oh, they'll merge it together and say, oh, okay, this two merge is the same person. And in that same way, they can help detect fraud. So things like chatbot are something else that we'll be talking that might as well just cover now. Chatbots are becoming very, very, very common in all applications. In many of the websites you go now, you go to a website and the robot comes and asks you, oh, do you have anything you want to talk about? And then you, oh yeah, and then they've already imputed tons and tons and tons and tons of already pre-configured information in that bot that if you ask a question, the very good ones can respond and get to the root of your problems really quickly. The way we are banking, as we mentioned, is different now. And the tools we are leveraging and how we're interacting is a lot different now. Fraud detection is one that is really big. You do a transaction, and next thing you see your phone, you get a text on your bank that goes, oh, sorry, we suspect this transaction, because it has taken multiple indicators from across and gone, oh, okay, based on this and this and this factors, we think it's a chance that that transaction might have been fraudulent. It automates that process as against someone manually going through it. in real time is automating and coming up with reasons why they think this is wrong. They use the same in other parts of so fraud detection, algorithmic trading. So like CG mentioned, automated stock trading based on data analysis. Algorithmic trading is what you mentioned earlier. So it's automated without any human interaction, but based on, and we see a lot of algorithmic trading in use now, as CG mentioned in his earlier question as well. So another industry is the transportation industry. And we've all been in a car, we've all been in possibly a train or a plane at some point. How is AI being leveraged in the transportation industry? Any thoughts on that? Has anyone thought of anything that is happening now that might be AI driven?
I think well, there's been long rumors about so like when you're trying to buy flight tickets or you're doing bookings, there's this thing where the prices tend to kind of move around depending on the time of the day you book it, or if you've tried to book that flight several times. And the idea is that there's sort of algorithms in the background that look at how, say, desperate you are to buy the ticket, or how many times you've tried, or and things like that. And based on that, effectively the price you're seeing on the airline's website or the booking site are all determined by a powerful engine in the background that is optimizing for, say, your IP address, your location, different things that it knows about you to actually price you. And I guess this applies to hotel bookings and holiday bookings as well. So of course, I'm speaking about transportation, air transportation more on the pricing side of things, but of course, there might be other things like train signals and other things like that.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for that. That is entirely very accurate, very, very. The other one I noticed is how the safety features around cars nowadays, and the more every year it seems like there's one safety feature added again and again and again, where your car can understand patterns. And by that I mean, like, if you are going on a 30, how does your car know it's a 30? If it changes to a 50, your car doesn't know it's a 50. So the ability of a car to use its cameras to look at the speed signals on the road and understand the numbers and interpret it into your GPS system to make you understand that this is the speed you're meant to be going, is the ability of a computer to see numbers, interpret it, and register that in almost real time. Other examples we've seen is, I think one of the probably the most common one is self-driving cars now. Self-driving cars will be able to understand so many more data points to be able to effectively let someone. I know there's a video a few years ago about someone that was driving a Tesla and she slept off. Tesla was taken out to work. And someone on the other side was recording. The person had literally knocked off shit. The person had slept off. And the Tesla was literally just driving the person. And then the reason is because the car has enough data points to understand danger, lane changing, when to turn, when not to turn, when to overtake, and so many things it could interpret to understand what to do. The other ones are becoming more popular as well as insurance fraud things, when it becomes more difficult for you to stage an accident because of the data points and understanding, or if you're staging an accident, it can help detect things like that. Or if you want to make an insurance claim, taking pictures and sending it, and so many other intelligent things that you're using software to do now. We've spoken about the predictive maintenance in one, help you predict based on how you're driving, miles, and all of that. Some of them are smarter than we think they are. Flight delay prediction, traffic management. Traffic management is one that we see in things like Waze and Google. And you see, you enter Google, how does Google know the best direction, right? It's taking multiple data points and going, okay, well, if you go this way and this way, the number of minutes will be this based on camera information, all of that. It can predict the best way to navigate to get you to the safest place. Another one to think about and speak into is in entertainment. This one is, I'd say it's quite interesting, but it's also quite the adoption of it hasn't been maybe might not be as pronounced as some other industries, but if you're in that industry, you definitely know about it. You definitely know about it. And one of the things that we're seeing is that those personalized movies and videos that we spoke about on Netflix, you're seeing more and more of it now, where if you have your own profile on Netflix, it will go movies recommended for you based on what you've watched so far. So it's personalizing what they want you to see. Game creation, I'm going to talk about that in the next slide as well. Gaming is a really, really big part of what is going on as well. But we're also seeing things like, we'll see people releasing AI albums of Drake, for example. And I'm wondering, how do you release an AI? So the whole song sounds like Drake. The whole album has different tracks. Beat sounds like him. Everything sounds like him, but it's not Drake. It's an AI based on his voice, based on loads of voice information around him. You could generate your own Drake album for you to say the words that you want to say. The same thing about movies. You see an old movie, say for example, maybe the old maybe Ben-Hur, one of those really old movies where people now can take scenes from it and change the context of the movie entirely. And we'll talk about deepfakes in next videos, but essentially technology is changing how everything is happening and also exactly user experiences and things like that and how we interact with it. Is there any gamer in the house? Is there anyone that plays games? Come on, someone, please tell me there's someone that plays games. Anybody? Anybody plays games in the house? Gogo, do you play games? Sorry to pick you out. Esther, Elizabeth, do you play games?
No, I don't really, but
Okay, if I play games,
yeah, sometimes.
the reason why is I saw a movie a long time ago and there was this word NPC. Does anyone know what NPC means? Okay, let me go straight into it. So NPC is a non-playable character. Essentially, in the gaming world now, we're seeing like before we used to say playable characters was a big thing, right? So okay. Maybe we don't have so many gamers, but in FIFA, right, most of the characters that you're moving are playable characters. You can move them. You could move one person and you press X, you do this, press O, you shoot, press this. So a lot of the characters in movies are playable characters. But in games are playable characters. But more and more now, AI controls are there for non-playable characters, making them behave more realistically. I mean, we've seen games like, there's some older games where you see characters that are going about their lives and just doing things that human beings would do normally, but they're not playable characters, but they're just characters that make and the feel of that game very realistic. And things like if you're playing a game, the game can automatically adjust the difficulty level without you asking based on how you're performing. So there's a lot of advancement in the gaming industry, and I guarantee you the gaming industry is is massive. It's probably one of the fastest growing industries out there. I won't be surprised when in the future actual football is the companies that run actual games are bought over by the companies that run the FIFA games, essentially, because of how fast that industry is going and how much more time young people are spending indoors as against outdoors. So AI generate game environments itself. So we've seen games like Minecraft past. You see games like Minecraft where the game environment and the levels and the entire world of the game is created specifically for the player. So you begin to create your own landscape within a game. And then you see more personalized player experience as well. So a lot more personalized player experience, a lot more of you talking to the game, and then the game recognizing your voice, your interaction. And there's a whole lot of more things. I think this industry is, I used to work in the game industry, so I'm a bit more, I'm a bit more enthusiastic. I was a bit more enthusiastic talking about it. But we've seen a lot more advancement in how people are testing a game using AI, how people are AI detecting people that are using cheats, for example, the cheat detections, so many other advancements in AI. Game industry is big. If you're someone that is looking for an industry and you're interested in gaming, it is absolutely massive. People are professional gamers more than you think right now. Okay. AI in education, we're seeing a lot of that as well. Is anyone leveraging AI in their personal learning? Is that are schools leveraging it? Is anyone in school that is using AI? And maybe we should just talk a bit into this.
Yes,
Um,
I use a lot of AI when it comes to kind of, the chat GP.
yeah,
You can feed in what you want and you're able to get information, which obviously you can say, can you, you want to do X, Y, Z, but you have to be specific with what you're looking for. And when you do that, you get a whole bunch of information on how to navigate doing it. And also like you've just talked about games, I use AI a lot when it comes to designing a lot of things. So all you need to do is just speak to the system and it generates this. It might not be accurate, but you have to keep tweaking it until you get the precise output of what you're looking for.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And we've seen those adaptive examinations where in previous in were exams where you had to do, like, for example, you had to do 250, did an exam, you had to do 250, answer 250 questions before. Now they can say, do you know what? If after the first 100, if we are liking your answers so far, the exam is going to end. And I've seen those kind of exams that is coming more and more in place now, where you're going on, going on, going, and some of those like questions are, oh, the exam has ended, and you're like, oh, did I pass? Did I not pass? And then it provides an answer, and it's already looked at your level of understanding based on your first 100 questions to go. There's no need for you to be 250. We know you know it, or we know you don't know it. So that is one of the things that we're seeing in terms of adaptive learning or adaptive exams as well. The other one is another industry is AI and customer service. I'll touch on this a bit because AI in customer service and digital experience is something that is used a lot in e-commerce. So whether we know it or we don't know it, most of the e-commerce sites that we go, well, by e-commerce site, any site you go that you buy something for, the moment you get onto the landing page or the moment you get onto the the buying page and you're clicking through, either it's ASOS or you're going to JD or you're going to whatever the web or you're going, whatever it is, pretty much all of the sites, whether it's Asda or Tesco. I use Asda because they used to, oh, I used to know about them. So whatever the website you're going, at the moment you're moving your mouse from one point to the other. Even if you're not typing anything, it's recording your mouse movements. So if you see my mouse moving, I don't know if you can see my mouse, same way my mouse is moving from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and your mouse is moving. Most of these applications have JavaScript embedded that is reading your mouse movements. And the reason why the application is reading your mouse movement is a lot can be told about your interaction with the application based on how you're moving your mouse. And I know about this because I used to work in a company that does exactly this. Company was sold for about $500 million a few years ago. But this is exactly what they did. They inject a JavaScript embedded in the application, and all the big companies did it. And they'll follow your mouse and go, okay. And if you end up not buying something, they can start recognizing the patterns. Like, okay, if the application skip this line or skip this page or focus on this more, you can increase the individual's interaction with the application to get you into a point where you're buying or not buying. Or maybe this page is a page where people usually stop the buying process, so you can make improvements here. So essentially, your interaction with applications online is tricked by machine learning as well. So understanding human behavior and human interaction with the mouse and helping that foster sales. And things like chatbots as well. So if you're, instead of you trying to call customer service and waiting a long time, you're having problems, you could quickly go, well, I've inputted my postcode, my postcode is not recognized. You could have that conversation quickly with a chatbot or again sending an email to customer service. But applications that are already reading your mouse click would know already if you have a problem, and they can start interacting with you at that point and go, okay, we saw that you're stuck here, what's going on? So there's a lot more of that we're seeing right now. Any questions so far? I know I've said a lot and we have covered quite a bit. Is there anyone with any question or thinking of anything? I'll give it a minute. Anything you've thought about that you think might be relevant or you're not sure about, please, there's no perfect question, there's no foolish question, there's no immediate question. Any question, please. So we'll all learn together, because whatever you're thinking about, I'm sure there's a chance that someone else is thinking about that question as well. So please feel free to ask the questions before we get to the end.
If I can ask, sorry. Yes, just as you said, with all this AI, they sort of put you in boxes, like say your Netflix, and it's advantageous in a way because you get to see what you like, but in a way, it sort of excludes you because it puts you in a box, and the films that you might even like, you don't get to see. They don't bring it up. And also with, say, shopping, when they sort of know what you're doing, is there a way, my question is there a way you could actually either hide what you're doing so that they don't predict you, or is there a way you could sort of erase what you've done? I mean, so that at least you can not just be restricted to what AI thinks you can. Because I've noticed that in Netflix at times, you don't see some movies and it's just what they think you want that keeps coming up.
That's a brilliant question. Not one I can specifically answer. But I suppose my answer would be one with things that are, say Netflix as an example. Netflix is a specific application that doesn't host other applications. So once you are on Netflix decides the content that you will see. They decide that based on your geolocation. So content in North America is different from content in South America, from Africa and Europe. They determine that based on similar preference of other people, what they've also seen. So once you are in those specific applications, your ability to make changes is a lot less available. You can't make, so it's almost like if you're in Instagram, for example, once they know that you've watched this clip about Arsenal scoring, next video would be something similar. Then they'll show you something about Thierry Henry, then Ian Wright said this, then Walcott did this, and then Calafiori is saying this. Once they know about one content, it becomes a circle of things they begin to tailor for your view. But if you're looking to anonymize yourself more, I mean, if say, for example, in your browsing, for example, there are applications that are built for privacy. I know there's a browsing application called Brave, Brave, that helps you anonymize, like so that people are not, so that if you search for something on Google before, it's not tracking you across board and using ads everywhere you go. So if you search for a bed, if you go to any other website, you'll see beds popping up. Why is this bed? Why is beds kind of everywhere I go? So the applications that help prevent that, or maybe if you're browsing and you're going incognito, those can also help you reduce, add privacy to how you're interacting with your browser. But once you get into those main applications itself, it becomes very difficult, if not impossible, to choose. I mean, but then I say that, but then also I think some applications do have those privacy settings. I take that back. I'm not sure about Netflix, but I know YouTube has a setting where you can tell it not to store your history. So every time you watch a video, it's seeing it as a unique video. You can then scroll down and give you similar videos. So once you watch a video, that's it. So I'm guessing that maybe more and more applications, so answer, maybe this might actually answer the question, more and more applications will start doing that where it's not tracking your history. But I think that's the discretion of the application maker himself. Okay. Is there any other questions? Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Bro Larry. My questions, they are in three folds. And I mean, as many you can take it. Now, the first one is about AI. There are a number of private issues and so on, governance issues. Governance issues in terms of different jurisdictions. There are legal and governance guidance that seems to either create risk or give negative exposure if not well managed in AI. So far, how are those issues being tackled to ensure, to protect the citizenry? That's one. Secondly, is about, you mentioned something which is very critical, which is the fact that any job, that any task that can be, or that is repetitive, AI can actually perform very well, if not take over completely those kind of job. In terms of a future job that the youth may want to look into, if they want to go into AI-related activity, what are those areas that will be useful for them to go into? Because within AI as well, I know there are operational parts and there are strategic parts as well in terms of the writing the software behind it. So what will be the future, so to say, proof jobs, area of specialization that the youth can go into? Then the third question has to do with that we are all aware of robotic softwares or robotic doctors and so on and so forth. And most of the information that goes into all these AI and so on, they are more like predictive information, data, and so on, consistent over the years. Now, how does AI take into consideration random data? And you know, random data could scatter any information that is gathered even 10, 15 years. I'll give you an instance. If you say that the doctor over the years has been able to know that, okay, if these symptoms occur 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the likelihood is that this is malaria, right? And it's been consistent for over ages. Now, because of the new dimension of disease and so on coming into the world now, what if there is a random data that the AI has not taken in that now change the metrics of that? How does AI accommodate those random data?
Thank you. Thank you. Those are very good questions. And I must admit, as you were typing this, you guys were saying your questions, I was typing it into AI to give me the answers. So I'm already leveraging AI to give me the resources. All right, first question was around AI governance, jurisdiction, and legal issues and how to protect citizens. Like everything, when Facebook started, there was less legislation around it. So Google took advantage of that. They used people's personal data without any information back to them. And that's why there was GDPR, and GDPR really tried to help fix the problem. So back in the day, if you tell Facebook anything about yourself, it can use that information about you. It doesn't care. Now I'm creating more of those preventions to help them make them more responsible for how they interpret it, how they use your data. They can't just use your data anyhow because there are laws implemented. So on that, AI governance is also something that is complex, but every organization, every big organization will have an AI policy already. And government is also looking at that. So there's a European Union Artificial Intelligence Act that is out there already that is trying to limit or high risk AI applications. In the US as well, there's the Algorithmic Accountability Act that requires assessment of algorithms used for significant decisions. I'm literally reading this out of here. So essentially what we're saying is over time, and we'll start seeing more and more human rights, ethical standards across how we'll start seeing more bills. Like the White House Blue has a AI bill that specifically is looking into how those algorithms and how we can prevent AI being used unethically. But then again, I say this, I'm also aware that there's also the need for public awareness, like things we are doing now, and people to be aware of the implications of putting their personal data out there or putting information on what they're doing privately in their company on a public AI platform that can then be used against them. So one, being careful on how they use AI is essentially really, really important. The other question around future-proofing your job is another one I typed into AI, and AI gave me an answer, but I'll try and summarize. It's a long answer. Whilst every job, like I said, every job requires you, I would say every single job you do, you can leverage AI. Like footballers are leveraging AI. I remember Kevin De Bruyne was trying to negotiate his contract, and they used data to talk about the value he's adding to Man City in a football contract. So essentially, in every field, data and the interpretation of data and the use of data is relevant. But when we're talking about jobs that are data are not repeatable, that you can, and I think essentially any job you can leverage AI. AI that is built to help enhance humans' creativity would always be relevant. So companies that are using AI to create models that help you, like ChatGPT, for example, what ChatGPT doing is enhancing a human being's creativity. If I tell ChatGPT, draw me a picture of this and this and this and this and this, before you know it, 2 minutes, it's creating it. That could have taken weeks and months and all of that. So it's enhancing human creativity. So a doctor's job, a nurse's job, a health professional's job will get enhanced by any creative role as well. So writers and artists and designers, essentially whatever job you decide to take, I think using AI to help improve your industry, I suppose it's the angle to take it. But other conversations around, if you want to learn AI, we'll talk about that in bits and pieces in one slide towards the end as well. The final question was around preventing misinformation with the AI, or how AI could, because right now the way AI is built is not perfect. So sometimes you might ask a you ask ChatGPT a question, I need to hallucinate. Hallucinate is almost like it's just churn out rubbish and like, what did I ask you? What are you providing for? It's not essentially correct all the time. So the reliance on AI shouldn't be 100% as AI is still learning. So as it's learning, but then it becomes more difficult for you to trick it with information from one piece if it's been learning over years and years and years. So it becomes harder for you to randomly start pushing random information to it if it's been learning for a long piece of time. And that's my understanding. It becomes more difficult because the data set required for it to have its memory comes from a larger set of data. Having said that as well, there are things like bias. So whoever is feeding if it's AI that is fed by specific individuals that are feeding with data, the people themselves have bias, they have a bias in their head. So that bias would then inform. By bias, I mean like if if they ask someone what does a good-looking person looks like, 10 people's answer might be different from another 10 people. So if the 10 people that are the people adding data to it have a specific bias of what a good-looking person looks like, it might affect how that AI bot interprets what a good-looking person looks like, essentially. So essentially, I hope that I've attempted to answer your question with that. ChatGPT, I said, Copilot, which is Microsoft's version of generative AI, has given me a whole lot of information on the other hand. But although I hope I've tried to answer some of the questions you've asked.
Yeah. You provided shielded more, give brighter lights.
On the second question as well, I would be going into a slide that talks about it maybe more detail. Okay, I'll try and speed it up a bit and give me for. Sorry?
Can I just say something briefly? Sorry.
Yes, please. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Yeah, with future proving, I can speak to medicine. It depends on what you put in, and that's what you get out, just as you said. But more importantly, AI just feeds the data and then just tells you exactly what it thinks is going on. For instance, in consulting, people now they're pivoting to using AI consultation, and you can actually speak to the computer. It's faster, and then it just gives you an idea. But increasingly, you've discovered that it gives, in about a third of the cases, the wrong diagnosis. And you have to hold on, because it just puts 1, 2, 3, 4 and says must be 5. But again, we're humans, and at times people present in diverse ways. So I think in future proving, answering the question, it's more of, say, yeah, always developing yourself in all ways, in all aspects, and keep on. Gone are the days when you say, oh, I've gotten my degree, I can now sit down and this is it. Increasingly, you have to now start looking for more information, updating yourself, and what AI cannot entirely replace people in some professions. However, in some aspects of medicine, like say radiology, they've discovered that AI actually is better when they look at the imaging, they feed the data, the clinical, and they've actually gone back to do a study to actually look at the diagnosis that some clinicians have made and have reviewed the diagnosis based on AI. And as you said, it's faster. So radiologists now are finding that increasingly their job is at risk because AI is doing it faster and is more accurate. But again, when it comes to the clinical discrimination, saying, although this presented the same way, and you have to look at it and put some of your data and your knowledge, past experience in place, you find that AI gets it wrong. So in short, it would be more of future-proofing yourself, it's increasing your knowledge, increasing your clinical acumen, because AI cannot examine at the moment. So in medicine, it would be making sure you develop skills, the human factor, the ability to examine patients well. And AI, I don't think they've gotten to that, or they can devise a method in which they can replace doctors in that regard. So it's more of future-proofing yourself, making sure you're developing your skills in your profession, whatever it is.
In terms of, in terms of scale, on the scale of 1 to 10, where would you say AI is in terms of clinical medicine, for instance? Where will you say it is in terms of providing that necessary support?
I would say almost 6 now.
Okay.
Because when people, if you know how to use it well, especially, say, depends on the field. Let me just say that, depends on the field. But in places like the clinic, if you can put it in well, AI puts the diagnosis, even thinks of things that you've forgotten and brings it to the fore. So about 6 is quite good, but I don't think it will actually get to a place in which it will replace clinicians at all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I mean, like, just to add a few things to what you said now, I'm not in the industry, but ChatGPT has said there are things like empathy and, complex decision making or hands-on care, like holding someone to share information with them. Robots will find it hard to understand empathy over time and being able to just, know when to talk and when just to let them, take a moment if they're gonna cry or if they want to, So things like those personal touch from the medical industry will be hard to you to replace, and a human being would want to ask questions that or show empathy. The empathic part is a part I know human AI would definitely struggle with or never be able to replace that in a human being. I suppose my or not in any time soon. Thank you so much. And also just things like electrical, like plumbing, like house jobs, like like building a house. The robots will not, I don't think, over the next few years, be able to take over skilled jobs like that as well. Management, leadership, and research development, scientists. So just reading off the things that he has provided here. Teaching, creative roles as well. Okay. All right. Everyday use of AI, we've spoken about it. A lot of us are leveraging AI already in our work and all of that. Cybersecurity is an industry that is leveraging AI a lot. I think we've spoken about it in our earlier conversation, where we said fraud detection is something that would happen a lot. But there's so many other ways. I don't want to go into it too much, but I mean things like before when we had when we used to train people about how to spot a phishing email, we'll tell them to watch for things like spelling mistakes, like grammatical errors. Like if you're looking, most of the time there'll be a grammatical error between if someone is sending you pretending to be Barclays, the text might have grammatical errors. That now becomes something that we don't really talk about as much any longer because anybody can really just ask ChatGPT or create an email for me like this, and or even if what their input is into the bot into ChatGPT might be wrong, ChatGPT will spell everything correctly for them and to correct their mistakes as well, even if they didn't get it right. So the attackers would have more understanding of what what a good phishing email would look like by just typing that in. And even when they're writing malware, for example, so they're writing something that will attack you, they can ask for prompts from ChatGPT and say, I'm writing this. Even though ethically you can't go to any of those generative AI platforms and go, can you write me a code that would exploit this? Or can I write me a code that would destroy this? It won't let you do that. But people are finding smart ways to go and ask the question in a different way and say, I'm doing a research on, and then just change the prompts. One of the major reasons why ChatGPT and AI is becoming big now, not because it wasn't around some odd years ago, but one of the other big reasons is because it understands natural language. And natural language is what I'm speaking right now. I can speak to it naturally in my native tongue, whatever it is, and the robots would understand me. So because of that, you don't need so much more technical abilities to do bad things. But then also the advantages are also like it will help you analyze behavior, to help you understand what is normal really quickly. I remember there was a technology where if you're leveraging technology and you're about to send an email, it could the system of AI could recognize based on everything you've typed. It would ask you and say, wait, this email you're about to send to John Smith at yahoo.com. The last time you sent it to John Smith at hsbc.com. So it can help you, or based on the information you've said so far, are you sure you want to? So it can read your email before you send it and give you ideas on to prevent you from sending an email to the wrong place. So to give you to process that email you sent and help you ensure that you're sending to the right place. Or say you copied 5 people and one of those ones have an email that is different. It will recognize that before you send the email out and go, are you sure every other person in that email has this email address? This person is out there. So there were preventives. It had preventative ways of detecting if you're sending something out without you before you do it, preventing you from sending it out. So AI can be leveraging security a lot. It's to understand what a normal traffic looks like, and if you see something that is not normal, it's to point it out. We've seen a lot of that with fraud detection as well, like we said earlier, where it recognizes patterns, and if you see something is way out of what is normal pattern, it picks it up as fraud. Okay. When asked the next part, we're gonna say, do we need special training? I'll ask that question. Do we, for us to use AI, for us in this age and space, do we need special training? Should we get special training? Should we go to school and learn AI? What should we do? Do we need any special training to get ourselves ready for this age of advanced technology? Any thoughts?
My thought is not necessarily, because you've got the tools out there, so many tools out there where you can learn AI. There's so many tools out there where you can learn AI. However, if you want to get into it, for example, for people that are in the finance and they have a specific software that AI uses, then yes, now you have to go get trained to be able to use that software. But in principle, generally, if you want to get onto the AI platform, there's so many apps out there that you can just get on and learn it yourself and carry on. Yeah.
Thank you. Brilliant answer. Any other answers as well? Anybody else? Any young person in the house that?
Okay.
Sorry for that. Sorry. Please go ahead. Say your first. Apologies. I didn't see you. Sorry. Apologies.
No. Okay. I think power without control is very dangerous, and for AI to have that desired result and understanding, right? I think it's important that if you want to really go into it or use it, you need to have understanding of the pros and cons, the risk associated, so that will also guide you in its usage. As Facebook or all the other social media, as good as they are, they have their bad side. So you need, even with the AI, you need to understand that deeply so that you know how to use it to actually improve the lives of the community or society, and not use it for any other dangerous part. So on studying or going for additional training on it or whatever to understand these things will really serve a good purpose.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Any young people? To just with me, I want to hear your thoughts about that.
So do I need special training to use AI? I don't believe you do.
No, not just to use
But
AI, but do you need special training? Should you have any special training? Would you recommend someone having special training?
I would say that if you plan to write algorithms to like try and train AI, if as AI becomes more developed, a lot more people will be involved in the work of developing it. So I think in that case, yes, a lot more people should look for special training. It will also give you an advantage in the future. As AI becomes a more prominent thing in day-to-day life, it will make it a lot easier to use and to manipulate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Esther, Elizabeth, any thoughts on that? Okay. I think Google was on this call earlier. I'm not sure if he's still here. Okay. Okay. I totally agree. My answer I put here was depends, and I totally agree with both opinions. I think it's an advantage to add it to whatever you're doing. For example, if you work in day to day, if you're a manager in an organization, you could use AI to improve how you do your one-to-one meetings with your colleagues. You could use AI to write your emails better. You can use AI to so learning it as a tool is not, I don't think it's any more different from learning how to use Excel, for example, depending on, but the only thing is this is way more informative and you can add way more value. So whichever your role is, a business leader, find it, and I recommend that you find ways, have more understanding of how you can leverage AI in your field. And if you're a young person looking to, that has interest in computers, or you have interest in mathematics, or you have interest in statistics, or you have interest in, I don't know, you like further maths in school, or do you like anything that has to do with algorithm or numbers, and you're looking at something, a course of study, there are AI specific courses, there are AI engineers that can go to school and learn AI. And a lot of what they'll be teaching you will be how to understand data, how to manipulate data, how to leverage data. Because, like we said in the beginning, the reason why AI is this big is because of data and the availability of data as well. So, yes, if you can, I would definitely recommend in one way or the other do further studies. edX, EDX is one of the provide courses from top universities. You could have a short course you could do and add that to your understanding of AI. Coursera is one of the biggest learning platforms for AI machine learning courses for different levels. If you want to go deep into it, or you just want to know more about all these things that we've spoken about, machine learning, neural networks, and all those kind of things, because this is the future. Okay. Examples of AI in action.
Can I just add? Sorry. Yeah. Can I just add that with AI, you need to literally be ready to think outside the box for you to achieve it.
So your the sound is not really good. I couldn't really. I had think outside the box.
What I said is for AI, you need to literally be able to think outside the box to be able to achieve it.
Sorry, is that a question or contribution? Sorry. I think I lost that. Mr. Kole, if you can move to somewhere where the voice will sound a bit better, we're really struggling to hear you.
Okay. So what I said is you need to literally think out. It's just a contribution. You literally need to think outside the box to be able to penetrate into AI space.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. And do you know what? I was thinking about that one. I was thinking, I remember there was a Nigerian boy. It was on one of these channels. Channel 5, seen a documentary about a Nigerian boy back in the days when mobile phones was just new, and he used to create ringtones. If you imagine, just imagine now someone's creating a ringtone, as in it sounds like what are you talking about? But and the emergence of digital phones, and everyone had phones, it was a big thing then. People have their own customized ringtone, and he was a major player in that. He made a ton of money then. That technology is extinct now. I'm just saying that getting in front of technology and leveraging that technology sometimes has a significant impact, because there's a chance that what we think might be big in 5 years' time might not be. But then in that 5 year space, some people might really leverage it and make a lot of advancement or financial advancement, or start a company that and do a lot with it in those, especially something that's this early, because the adoption of AI is so big. A lot of the actual adoption is quite early. Okay, we're going to go through some of the examples of AI in action, some of the companies that have used AI in action more recently. So Moderna used AI in their work with COVID-19, and they were able to use data. The company was able to optimize clinical trial planning, quality controls, and even in their data center operations. And Moderna, if you remember, one of the very first companies that came out with a vaccine for the COVID at the time of the crisis. So I see modern day companies, very modern day companies, leverage it. Metal is the company that does Barbie and all of that. They leveraged on DALL-E. DALL-E is one of the image generators, so we use DALL-E to put any prompt into DALL-E and to help you quickly generate information. So generative AI that enables their designers to think more broadly, offering models on options that they might not have conjured by themselves. So they are beginning to leverage this. Meta is one of the biggest toy companies in the world. They are leveraging AI as we speak right now in their production of their work they do. Another example we've seen is Costa Group. Costa Group, they are a Australian company, one of the biggest Australian companies when it comes to agriculture. Not normally things in a space where you use bees to pollinate, they're leveraging AI for that process of pollination. So this is interesting. Procter & Gamble is another company. We know about P&G. P&G is one of the biggest conglomerates. They're leveraging AI, embedding into the operations and delivering in skills, helping them reduce costs and leveraging cloud and edge computing in terms of using it to streamline production. Another company is leveraging AI. We've seen Goldman, an investment company or investment bank, similar to JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Bank of America, and all of those ones. They are letting their developers use generative AI to help developers write code. And and the question is, why won't they? Because if you're not, whilst there might be rules and guardrails around it, like I said, leveraging AI would help in reducing the amount of time spent if you want to get things done quickly. So you're seeing companies like that. Choice hotels are using robot advisors to help them reduce carbon footprints. And more companies, UK high-speed trains are building better construction plans using AI models as well. So AI is being used everywhere. So professionally, AI will help you automate repeated tasks, gain insights from large data sets, and help you make recommendations faster. Obviously, the ethical considerations, and we'll discuss that in a bit, addressing issues like employment, and governments have to intervene in things like that, because we've seen in factories, Amazon factories, that are powered largely by AI, and AI is able to sort things, arrange things, package things. We're seeing companies all around the UK and around the world that run automated systems, and so some factory workers are losing jobs, so government intervention has to be in place. Privacy concerns as well, so privacy concerns and seeing people superimposing images of faces in other places. We'll talk about that as well. But AI could also be biased and unfair. I think we've spoken about that as well. But those are some ethical considerations around using AI. The other information, and I know this is more, and the question here, can it take over? And this is more on more of a Terminator kind of view where AI taking over the world becomes a conversation. But is that also a possibility in the future where AI becomes super intelligent? But those are still hypotheticals as well. Quickly, we'll talk about deepfakes as well. Deepfakes is fascinating, but yet is a concerning application of AI technology. It involves deep learning algorithms that create realistic or fake videos and audios of people. They can use things like replace your voice, replace your video, replace your picture, and they create. I'm sure young people here have seen apps, so many applications that can do that across the internet. A lot of the applications. The problem with that is how we now detect what is a deep fake from what is a real. That now becomes the security dilemma for people to be able to say. And we've seen that more and more. There's a real life event of someone that within a company, the CFO called for a meeting with some of their leadership members. They had the meeting, and that meeting he asked them to do certain things. It was a video call. They all saw him or her, asked them to do a few things for them. Thanks for moving money from here and here and here. Nobody thought anything about it. Later, they realized that it wasn't actually the CFO that asked them to do that. It was a deep fake video. Sounded like the CFO, looked like the CFO, everything about the CFO was real. But the reality is it wasn't the CFO, and they were able to steal money using a deepfake video, like a deepfake live video of someone within the company to steal money. So we're seeing more and more how people are using it and artificial intelligence for nefarious purposes. Just needs to bear in mind. Finally, I think the future is AI. In 60 countries are currently have AI strategies. I think we spoke about that earlier in the video. We're seeing the European Cyber Act. The prediction by, I think this is McKinsey said by 2030, 2300, AI capabilities will rival humans. Scary but possible stats. And it's also the financial figure, how much AI will add to economy is also quite staggering, 4.4 trillion. Okay, finally, any last questions as we come to the end of this? Okay, if there's none, I'll just quickly summarize. And so, first, let's remember what AI is. AI is just anything that's trying to simulate how a human being thinks. The impact of it is already revolutionizing every industry. And if your company is not talking about AI, they should be. And as individuals, being on this meeting is one step into your journey of AI, but the potentials and opportunities is abundant. Is the impact on our daily life would become more and more evident over the next years. The applications of AI would affect health with diagnosis, with personalized medicine, administrative tasks. In finance, we're seeing it already. Algorithmic trading, as we mentioned, fraud detection, customer service. In transportation, autonomous vehicles, entertainment, we mentioned game development, education, customer service, and all of that. The common AI tools, popular platform like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Scikit-learn are valuable. As I mentioned, Coursera and edX as well are valuable tools for continuous learning on AI. Like I said, anyone has interest in AI, or anyone has interest in statistics or like math or programming, AI is a very, very good consideration if you're thinking of something to study as a course. All of these points highlight the essence of AI and its significance to today's world. There are practical things we need to leverage in whatever industry we are in. Thank you so much for the time, and I'll pass it back on to yourself, CG. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, for the very informative session on AI. I've learned a lot myself. I've taken a lot of notes, and there are a lot of things there I think that can be used straight away. But just in the next 5 minutes before we round up, I'm going to call on Tujesupemi Femi Adeniyi to anchor just a few questions that we might have from the audience and the attendee group before we bring the meeting to a close. So thank you everyone for staying with us, and just bear with us a few more minutes. Thank you. Tujesupemi.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Uncle Larry, for that informative session. Just wondering if anyone has any questions, can you either put it in the chat or unmute yourself to speak and ask your question.
Okay, I think we have a question from Minister Abdul. Go ahead, please, sir.
Hello, yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is just a general question. I am 18 years old, right? And for my university dissertation, and based on the training that we have had today, that AI is a powerful tool for anything you can think of that will help your performance, everything. 18 years old, university, writing my dissertation. Should I make use of AI in writing my dissertation?
So I would say there are definitely some ways you can make use of AI to write your dissertation. However, I would suggest that it's not a good idea to just input all the information you need into like ChatGPT and then just wait for it to write it for you, because obviously that can be seen as plagiarism or copyright, because the way AI works is that it learns from other things. So the way ChatGPT would work is it works from input from other people and from collecting resources across the internet, and then looking for patterns to relate it to what you've input into ChatGPT. So I would say that definitely you could use AI to help you with different parts of your dissertation, with specific parts. I would definitely say don't let AI write it for you, because that would cause issues with plagiarism. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
I think there's a question in the chat box from Uncle Balogun, and the question is, are there any specific AI tools or platforms for specific professions? I think that's a really good question. And so I don't know if Larry or Tujesupemi can help us with that question.
I think I'll give this question to Uncle Larry, but I just want to say that there's definitely an area of AI that can help with every single profession. You just need to find it. So you can have AI that helps you to sort things. You could have AI that helps you to search for something, and all those little things that can help with different professions. You could also have subject specific AI. So it could help with maths. It could help with rewriting something. It could help with healthcare. It could list possible diagnoses and stuff like that.
I think I'm just gonna add. I think it also depends on the industry, like you said. So I remember I was talking to someone that he sent me a video that he created on YouTube and said, "This is my video." And I listened to it. I said, "But this is not you. You didn't create this video." I said, "Yeah, he did." But I said, "That's not your voice." He said, "Yeah, but I just told AI what I wanted it to say, and it did it for me." Well, I said, "What about the content on the video?" He said, "Yes, I told it to generate the content for me, and it did." So I was like, "What?" But it was like, yeah, that there's copy AI that can help you generate content. Like he gave me, forgot the names, but there are bots, there are AI applications already out there that help you synthesize, that help you edit videos, that help you create videos, that help you add the voice to it, that help you. There are loads of AI out there that do those things. I think obviously when you're downloading AI off your phone, if you're typing anything you want to do, you're going on Google, check the reviews and check how highly it's rated before you download it. So you're ensuring that you're also making sure you're downloading from the actual Play Store as against just copying something online, just so that you know that it's been checked and reviewed. But also check how it to use your data before you download it. So you're ensuring that it's not just but like I said, if you're coding, for example, I think GitHub has its own Copilot. So developers already know about it, they're already using it anyway. So I'm saying this developers, I'm preaching to the choir. So essentially, generative AI would be the first start, right? Any profession. If your work involves you creating documentation, if your work involves you interacting with other people, it can train you on the language, how to sound. If you're trying to think about emails you want to write out, it could really, really like revolutionize everything. Like some of us are struggling not to use AI for anything right now because of how much we're leveraging it. And I think the advantage of leveraging it is also because you can do things really quickly, like presentations really quickly, get to the solutions really quickly. So start with generative AI like ChatGPT, OpenAI, whichever is available to you, Copilot, ChatGPT or Copilot, sorry, and begin that in your journey on learning about different types of AI. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I have a question.
Go on, sir.
And it's about AI and the future. Obviously, with the coming in of AI, jobs are going to change. The nature of what we do now is going to change completely. Larry has already mentioned that all the processing and systems bits, basically that function out of AI, will probably be lost to us. So the question for me is, looking into the future, what are those nature of jobs that young people need to be looking out for now or start preparing for in terms of, because there are two, for me, it seems like two aspects to it. One is learning AI and mastering AI and having a job running the AI yourself. The other bit is pretty much, what are those things that I can do? In the accounting profession, I will give an example. A lot of the transactional stuff that we do in finance will now be run by AI pretty much. In fact, reports, which basically is a professional thing that you do before, will probably be run by AI, which then leaves you to basically interpretation and the management of personnels and interactions, which the AI cannot do yet. Hope maybe that tool will be taken over in the future by AI. So how can people prepare for this change that's about to happen, which, like Doctor said, 60% is, we'll say 6 out of 10 is already the level at which AI is operating now. And I think I kind of agree with that in terms of whether it's 6 or 7 out of 10. And if it can get to 6 out of 10 in 2024, I can see the speed at which that transformation will take place within the next 2 years, because it happens geometrically when things have gone this far. So we're talking about 2-3 years time or 5 years time. How can people prepare for the job market of the future in this event?
I'm just gonna just to I'll try and make an attempt to answer that. But I think we've spoken about a few of them. Remember, Doctor was saying that it's continuous learning is essential. The ability to learn new skills and adapt to new technologies is vital. And I said platforms like Coursera and Udemy provide loads of courses. Like I said, there's hardly any job right now that doesn't involve you sending emails or you meeting with people or you creating something, you creating presentations, something you could leverage. And I think just leveraging even in your writing skills would quickly improve in terms of how you're communicating with your peers, can quickly improve by you just leveraging AI. But things that emails that you send that just sound like, why does this person sound like this person didn't go to school? Could really begin to sound like, why does this person sound like this person is so smart? But it's not really you that's gone so smart. It's how you've decided to leverage AI and gone, oh, okay, this person, let me take this person's email seriously because it sounds so like a senior person. So I'm suppose leveraging AI has two parts, like you said. The first part is using it and also creating it. And in terms of you creating it, it's skills like coding, programming, data analysis are the core things you need to know in order to use it. So, that you're learning programming languages like Python, Java, and all those kind of things, but also learning how to data science analytics is the other thing as well. But almost like the internet, not many of us has gone into the learning about the internet. Many of us have just gone into using the applications on the back of the internet. So 99.9% of us wouldn't be the people that are coding and creating data analysis, but would people that be leveraging the things that are coming out on the back of AI and being able to leverage those things. I think they are really important to get in front of them, to use them to your benefits. But then also, just to finally, there's also be things that can't be taken away from you. By that I mean like things like critical thinking, your ability to solve problems, or your emotional intelligence. Those are things that you can't really, AI can really, they can help refine it. But if you have leadership qualities, leadership skills, managing people skills, AI would help you enhance it. AI will help you learn how to do your one-to-ones with your people, would help you schedule out how you plan your next 3 months as a leader. And ChatGPT does that really well. You can tell ChatGPT, this is my role. I'm a director of this and this and this. It will begin to have expectations of you. You go, well, it will tell you, well, you're not sending that email like to make it sound like you are this. You can begin to tell, oh, ChatGPT, this is what we've been doing so far. I mean, all being careful of how much you add to it to anonymize or the organization you're talking about. But you can start creating a profile on how to start helping you adjust your language, adjust some of the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So there's a lot of ways that we can leverage what already exists. For people that are younger and looking to go into as a field, there's a ton of opportunities available in AI machine learning. You can specialize in the specialized fields. Like cybersecurity is one of those ones that it's coming more and more relevant as we're coming more and more in the digital world. Like the need for it and how wide it is so a lot of jobs might get taken away, but the more skilled one individual is, the more opportunities you would have. So taking advantage of learning, I think, is essential. I hope I've answered the question. I think I've gone on too much. Apologies.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Thank you to Jisupemi, and a big thank you to everyone, all 22, 23 of us who've come through the program at one point or the other while it was on. Thank you very much. I'll just call on Pastor Lanio to please give us a closing prayer as we wrap up. Thank you, sir.
Praise the Lord. Father, we give you praise for all you've done for us. We thank you for another privilege to be empowered and to leverage on what we've been taught so that we'll be able to walk with the sound of time. We bless your holy name and we say be thou magnified in Jesus' name. Father, we thank you for all the vessels you've used as a channel of blessing today. We ask that you increase them in all aspects, in wisdom, in knowledge, in understanding, that you increase them. As they water, let their souls be watered also. Increase them on all sides. Uphold them, O Lord. Make them all at their points of need. And this training we had today, some may just see it as just a mere training, but I know out of it, you bring out mighty men that will shake the nation. We'll pray the grace to walk with the sound of time and to be a stakeholder, even in its future. You release unto each and every one of us in the name of Jesus. Father, we thank you for all you've done for us. As we go, Lord, go with us. Be our guide. Let your word be our code. And let your name be magnified forevermore. Thank you, Jesus, for an answer prayer. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless.
Thank you.